But into this irradiated environment where all living things began to die, came an unexpected survivor. The insect, in a frightening tour de force of adaptability, proved conclusively that he could endure where man would ultimately fail. Yes, I'm talking about insects. And if you at this moment dare to think this is lunacy, I invite you to remain in your seat, draw your own conclusion, and learn the inevitable destiny of ignorance.
It is a war of attrition. It just chews you up and spits you out. I was born and brought up on a farm in the middle of nowhere. It's a mile to the nearest shop. It's exactly half a mile to the nearest paved road. It's literally down the bottom of a cart track in the bottom of a valley. So when it goes dark, it just goes dark. You know what I mean? I've had a really, really nice upbringing. But it's that strain of, you know, pressing that red self-destruct button that runs in the family, and I've got it.
After all, what is this perfect society? Nothing more than a ball of paper-thin fluff. Who am I trying to kid? The power of destruction. We can play like gods. Who are they, after all, but a bunch of wretched, unimportant, heathenistic creatures without even a passport to heaven? I am man, and man is made in God's image, and man can therefore destroy. Is it possible that these creatures are us? That in the eyes of the universe, we too are mere insects that can be destroyed at will?
It's an ugly thing, you know, who look manky, because some of them do look manky, and those are the ones you remember, but that's a very small percentage. And you don't know how they were brought up, you don't know, unless you get to know them, you can't judge a book by its cover, basically. This is the voice of experience. It's once you've fallen through that net, which can be surprisingly easy to do, and you can keep falling through it. I would describe it as a particularly pernicious, is probably the word, game of snakes and ladders. Very few, very short ladders, and an absolute shed load of dirty bit of snakes.
Unlike other creatures who struggled against their environment, he learned early to seek its protective embrace. Creating an endless wardrobe of camouflage, he and his environment became one.
You just have to start again.
I would very much like to have been on hand during the first 7 days of creation. I would like to have seen the ironic smile on the Creator's face as he gave each creature a different strength, knowing full well that eventually only 2 among them would be left to fight for what remained of the earth. That seems preposterous. Here's a little fact for you. Today, as most other animal species are diminishing in population, only two are definitely on the increase: man and insect. Man, because he is the only creature with the ability to radically change the earth. And the insect, because he is the only creature who can adapt to whatever changes man can make.
It takes forever, and I was playing the game. I knew I had to meet him halfway and straighten myself out. So it all happened on the 32nd of November.
What is the life of a few hours' duration? Could each of their minutes have been like our years? Or are each of our years more like their minutes? How did we spend our few hours? Tormented with questions of why we were born, or like they, accepting the gift and gently saying goodbye?
Thinking back, I have suffered, and suffered is the right word, from clinical depression since I was a teenager. But I didn't realise. My wife told me. My wife at the time told me when I was about 43, she said, "You've got clinical depression. You need to go and get some help." And middle-aged men, they don't go to doctors.
With the use of a highly sensitive microphone, I found the silence around me to be filled with sound. Not only sound, but language. Dozens of languages, as different from one another as Japanese is to English. English is to Russian. Listen.
When I'm depressed, I think, well, what's the point? Because, you know, I'm quite a wordsmith. Other people say this to me. I'm quite articulate, even though I do say so myself. And I just think, well, what's the point of explaining things to people? They just either don't understand, or they don't want to listen, or they've heard it all before. I'm just being self-indulgent, so I just think, what's the point of talking? I'm 59 years of age this month. The culture in which I grew up, well, you just thought, you're a man, you know, big boys don't cry and all that. When I get depressed, I can't even get out of bed to put my socks on.
Ever notice how from a great height a society of human beings takes on the appearance of so many ants, scurrying to and fro? If you have, it's a rather dull-witted observation, because there's really no similarity whatsoever. Down there, everyone has his own name, his own identity, his own path, which more often than not seems to collide with everyone else. quite unique to human beings, this sense of individual purpose, this need to compete with all the rest. True, as individuals, it gives us strength. But as a species, it threatens our chances for survival.
We know what we're doing to ourselves. Like when I drink, I know I'm destroying myself, but I've got a sort of big red button that occasionally I have to press, and the wheels fall off the wagon. I would describe it as headlong, pell-mell, careen, is the right word, careen down the road to perdition.
The beautiful sundew, a murderess in disguise, tempting with imitation succulence all to come forth. Instead of sweet nectar, they will find sticky paste. Their very struggle to escape exciting the deadly tentacles to descend.
I'm still in the process of, you know, recovering, or whatever that is.
Unlike man, whose physical limitations are dictated from the moment of his birth, the insect is born with the ability to actually improve upon his own body. When he reaches the limits of his capability, he miraculously transforms into an entirely new being.
Mixing with them to create the most beautiful visual harmony in all of nature's symphony.
What is the value, even for oneself, to sustain an existence that must ultimately end in death?
The insect has the answer, because he never posed the question. Of the billions of living things on Earth, only man ponders his existence. His questions lead to torment, for he is unable to accept, as the insects do, that life's only purpose is life itself.